Cue the romantic music.
So the story goes like this. I was living in South Carolina at the time. It was, 2003? 2004. So we both belong to an organization called Little People of America.
So every year, the Little People of America hold a national convention that little people from all over the United States and to some extent from all over the world attend. It's always the first week in July, and they hold it in different cities around the country. And in 2004, the host city was listed as San Francisco, although the hotel that the conference was at was actually in Burlingame.
So in the case with me was that I was working at the time, and I either had the time and not the money, or the money and not the time. So that summer I couldn't go to conference. So, but as Andrew explained, he was organizing, and so my friend Robin, who's my roommate at the time, she'd been out to San Francisco several times, so she was looking for things to do that kind of were off the beaten path. And through, I don't know if you remember back in 2004, but listservs and chat messengers were much more popular. You know, AOL, what was it called? AIM?
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, and Yahoo Instant Messenger, because this was all before Facebook and, you know, Twitter and everything we know now. So, she was like, hey, can anybody help me out with some stuff to do? And Andrew responded. And so that's how they got to know each other. She came out to conference, and I obviously didn't go. I stayed home. So fast forward to everybody's back home, and Robin and I were getting ready to go out one night, and she always had 2 or 3 chat windows up. And I'm literally, like, I remember it so clearly. I'm in her room, and we're getting ready, and Andrew's chat window pops up, or they were already chatting. So I was like, oh, hey, who are you chatting with? And she's like, oh, that's that guy Drew I was telling you about in California. So I hopped on the computer, and I think I introduced myself.
Yeah, I think she gave you my email address, and you found me on there, and my screen name.
Well, I initially chatted through her
But shortly after
handle.
you were on your own.
Yeah. So Andrew worked in an area of graphic design software, and since I'm a graphic designer, it was immediate kind of interest for me to find out if this guy really did know graphic design stuff or if he was just kind of blowing smoke. Yeah, so initially it was just very casual, and we would chat online and we'd play games, right? We were like chatting for a week or so, and then he dropped off, and
I disappeared.
yeah, because we hadn't exchanged phone numbers or anything yet. And I was like, oh man, like, is this guy just another douchebag? I was really disappointed because he seemed really cool and we had a lot in common, but then he just went silent. And so I did the cool thing at the time. I didn't freak out. Okay, I was breezy. That's what it was.
You were breezy.
I was very breezy.
She was very breezy.
I was a tornado breezy. And so I was like, okay, whatever. But then one week, he pops back on and says, because I don't know if you remember with AOL Messenger, but you could leave messages, and if the person wasn't on, or I think this is actually Yahoo, they would see the messages, but because they weren't there, they hadn't responded. So he pops back up and he says, oh, I'm so sorry. I see you were trying to message me, but I've been sick.
After the conference, then I came home and I was very sick. Went to the doctor eventually and discovered I had pneumonia. So, yeah, for like another 10 days or maybe even 2 weeks after that first week, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sick.
Did finally go back on the computer.
I did finally get better and got back on the computer and saw that Jodes 247, which was her screen name,
I forgot about that.
had been trying to message me. So I messaged.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Messaged her back.
I haven't heard from you in a while. So
We
after
exchanged phone numbers.
yeah, after this whole not being able to get a hold of each other thing, I was like, we really should exchange numbers. And he was totally cool with that. So then we started talking on the phone. So in January, I had an opportunity to go back to Washington State to see my family because I hadn't been in quite a while. Again, time, money, money, time. And I thought, well, why don't I swing down through California on my way home for like 3 days? Because A, I've never been, and B, I really want to meet you. I want to see if we have chemistry, if we have as much fun in person together as we do on the phone. For some reason, we knew not to put too much pressure on that first meeting.
Well, hang on. You may not know this part of the story, or you may be just forgetting it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. But the way Jody initially broached the subject of coming to California was, she said, hey, I'm taking a trip out west, and I could swing back through California, and I could meet you, and I could see where you live, and wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
And
that's probably what I said. That
and-
sounds very Jody-esque.
And I thought to myself, the meeting part sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
The having this woman see where I live part sounds horrible.
He was kind of in bachelor mode.
Because I was in total bachelor mode, A. And B, I didn't know what would happen if things didn't go well.
Right.
And so I said, hey, you know what? Santa Clara is really not any place you want to visit. It's a bedroom community. It's kind
It's a
of,
suburb.
it's dull. I still say that about Santa Clara. We still live there.
Yeah.
So I said, I tell you what, why don't we have a different plan? Why don't you come to California, and I'll put you up in a room in San Francisco, someplace that is interesting, and that way if we don't hit it off or it's uncomfortable or whatnot, you'll at least be in a city where you can do some fun stuff, and I won't feel, like I wasted your time. A, and B, you won't see my house, which is full-on bachelor. And I thought might scare her away. Now, I think we'll save the part 2 of this story
For another video.
for another video. And in that story, you'll find out how that trip to San Francisco turned out,
Yep.
and how, despite my best effort to keep her away from my house in Santa Clara, she came to Santa Clara. Anyway,
Yeah.
how did that happen?
Exactly.
I had it all planned.
Because you know what they say about plans.
Yes, the best laid plans don't always turn out.
But for how that adventure even turned out, I think it's safe to say that the rest is history because... So Andrew and I are coming up on our 10-year wedding anniversary.
October 27th.
October 27th. And I've always credited in large part the foundation of that meeting in an online way.
So we had to make an effort to think about what we were going to share and how we were going to share.
Yeah.
So, the
It's not just the online part, it was the
Yeah.
fact that we were separated by distance.
it was long distance, and it was sort of like a correspondence relationship. A modern version of pen pals, I guess you might say.
Because we did do some emailing.
We did a lot of emailing.
Yeah. Especially when I was at work and I couldn't chat.
Right, yes. And
this was before texting too, you have to remember. Texting just barely had started, but
yeah,
it was...
you had your little
on the-
phone. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was,
But-
and some texting charged.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
money.
that's right. They were like a dime a text.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those good old days. So, at any rate, that's how we met. And Robin, of course, gets a lot of credit. She certainly was the link that introduced us. Hope you enjoyed the story. It's been a long and fun and productive day. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this with my loving husband here. So, hope you've had a good weekend and start to the good week. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.